Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Geeked Out. This week, the podcast, we decided to, as we had said on our last episode, we continued in the horror thriller genre, and this week we decided to watch Final Destination 3 from 2006. Clearly, the third film in that franchise, which I believe is up to 6 films now. This movie was directed by James Wong, and it starred Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ryan Merriman, and nobody else really of note except for the voice talents of one Mr. Tony Todd in 2 separate roles.
What's the star's name again?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
AKA Ramona Flowers.
from Zach Pilgrim, Scott Pilgrim,
Yeah. Or
and
also known as the green alien chick in Ahsoka with the fat ass. If you know, you know. Just saying.
I have not watched Ahsoka yet,
But them memes are out there, bro.
but I'm planning on watching it.
No, it's all right.
I've heard conflicting things, but I'm still looking forward to it.
All right. She's the best part of that goddamn show, I'll tell you that.
It's not Rosario Dawson.
Nah, I don't know what direction she was given, but she was very too like regal.
Who was it?
Too much of like that older Jedi chill, too much of it. It
Oh,
was just
good.
too thick.
Oh, good. Now I'm even more excited.
But overall, it's okay. It's all right.
I like I said, I'm still planning on watching it. I'm still looking forward to it. But it's
Anyway.
good to know, be cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So back to the movie here, just for after that. So the movie is IMDb rating of 5.8 out of 10, and the Rotten Tomatoes critic score is 43% with an audience score of 57%, which makes this movie a rotten movie according to.
Yeah, I saw that when I looked up, um, when I was trying to find a link to watch it. I I saw that. I was like, that seems pretty damn low from what I remembered before I rewatched it. And coming out of it, I still think that is still that's pretty low.
I agree. I mean, I think the way Rotten Tomatoes works is I believe their threshold is, I want to say, 70% to make it certified fresh, and I could understand if it didn't make the 70% cutoff, but I mean, at least give me the 60s. Like the audience score, because usually with movies like this, I expect the audience score to be a little higher because, I mean, let's be honest, the movie is ridiculous and it's
Yeah.
insane, but it's so much, like, to me it's so much fun. It
Yeah.
it
It's
And
it's
then I get the critic score, because critics usually look at these movies and they're like, well, this is fucking horseshit. Like,
exactly.
this is nonsense for people who don't know what real film is and yada yada yada. But
Yeah. They
I
can't separate like an Oscar worthy film from just like a fun popcorn turn your brain off esque movie. They
well,
kind of judge the movie based on the same merits when they should separate them.
absolutely, and that's the thing that I've always kind of said is, I think I might have said this on the podcast before. I can't remember, but you hear people all the time say, "Oh yeah, I went and saw this movie. It's so great. It's this and that." To me, there's a big difference between a great movie and an entertaining movie. For example, I would never refer to Final Destination 3 as a great movie. I would refer it as a movie that is entertaining as hell and a lot of fun to watch. But it's not like when you think of a great movie, you're going to think of something like Shawshank Redemption or
Yeah.
um,
It,
like like
it
like those movies. Those are great movies, great
it's the
films. These are
context.
just, yeah, exactly. These are just fun. These are just, like you say, turn your brain off and just let yourself be entertained for an hour and a half.
It's a great movie if you are with friends, if you had a couple drinks and you can talk shit about it you're watching it. Like that's it's a great movie in that realm. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
see what
though. Yeah, that's the fun part is if like you say, if you get a group of people together and you watch it and you're like, well, this is ridiculous, like, and you just kind of and you laugh all together with it. I mean, but there are people out there who see movies like this, or whether it be this or the Saw franchise or things like that, that are they're so truly do think that it's some kind of art form, and it's I get that people love these things, but let's be honest, these movies are just for fun. They're not some deep hidden meaning philosophical thing you're watching. It's just let's go out, let's have a good time at the movies, and you know what I mean, and then and go home. That's all it is, and that this movie to me perfectly encapsulates that.
yeah, not every movie needs to take itself so serious.
No,
Like
not
some
at all.
movies to escape, and we don't want to escape every time into something that's so serious and so emotional. Sometimes you want to escape to a place where things are silly and make and fun and not so damn serious.
Yeah. And well, speaking of silly, that's a great segue because that could be a way to describe this movie. I mean, so to basically kind of hammer out the plot of this, if anybody listening, if you're familiar with this movie or any of the movies in the Final Destination franchise, they're all pretty much set up along the same guidelines.
Yeah, they all kind of
There's
the same at the
yeah, there's
beginning.
something that happens. In this case, it's senior night, I guess, at a local carnival or amusement park, and there's two couples that get on this roller coaster with a bunch of other classmates from their school, and you see them go on the roller coaster and the whole thing crashes, everybody dies, and then all of a sudden it shows that it was the main character. Wendy is the character's name, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, as we said earlier. She had a premonition of this happening, and she completely freaks out, loses her shit, and forces people to get off the ride. Now, in other movies, it's the plane crash in the first one, the pile up car accident in the second one, things like that.
Can I just
And
say something
then,
quick?
absolutely,
The the thing about this franchise, let's just stick to the first three. For a
okay,
generation of people, including myself, um, kind of changed the way we live. And for me, in the first one, uh, it definitely gave me a little bit of fear of flying. I haven't flown yet ever, but I know once I get in a plane, I'm gonna be hella goddamn nervous because of that movie. And the second one, I don't know about you, but I will never
drive next
drive.
to a logging truck.
Nope, nope, not at all. If you're carrying something like logs of wood or anything loose or anything, nah, bro, I'm not doing it.
No, I'm the
And
same way.
right, and the third one, it's roller coasters. Like, it, I'm not really a big fan of roller coasters, but whenever I'm in one, this goddamn scene in the third one always runs through my head.
Now, I will say, to preface that, I've actually never seen the first movie. I've only seen the second and third. And I will say I did enjoy both, and I am meaning to watch all of them, like the whole franchise at one point.
First one is
Because
really
if
good.
if the rest of them are as fun as these first two, I'm gonna have a blast watching these.
The thing about
Because
the first one though is it took itself a little bit more serious in this the like the following sequels.
okay, so it's not quite as ridiculous.
No, it is ridiculous, but not. It's kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, where each sequel got a little bit more silly, but
Okay.
the first one was kind of serious.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. But yeah, it's so basically they all get off the ride, and then oh, shocker, the roller coaster crashes anyways. Her premonition comes true. And then everybody who got off the roller coaster then begins to die in the same order that they would have on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And the two main characters, um, um, Ryan Merriman and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So we'll just refer to them as their characters were Wendy and Kevin.
Okay.
So Wendy and Kevin then basically they'd start tracking down all the members of all the people who were going to be on the roller coaster, and they're trying to warn them. And usually, as they're basically explaining to them what's going to happen or why they should be afraid or anything like that, oh, a freak accident, some kind of nonsensical situation happens, and they're killed in usually a very brutally violent, and because of the tone of this movie, and I this might make me sound slightly morbid, I find it quite amusing and kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah. Well, there's at least 3 kills that are in this movie. One being played for humor, but the other 2 are pretty fucking horrible, man. One being
Those,
honestly, I think is the worst one in the whole franchise.
I think I know which ones you're talking about being horrible, but before we get to that, so the main basis of this, the reason that these two characters are in it is that, like I said, there were two couples that go, and these two are not together. The two girls are friends, the two guys are friends, and before they get on the roller coaster, they decide to split and kind of separate. And the girl goes with the guy friend in the back, and so on and so forth. So
Hmm.
their significant others or their boyfriends and girlfriends actually stay on the roller coaster, and they are killed in the crash, which
But
then brings these two together even more so, because that the scene before he gets on the roller coaster, the guy goes, I want you to protect her. Like, she's really freaked out and this and that. And for some reason, this guy seems to think that his best friend told him, when he said, I want you to protect her, he took that as, oh, now I'm dead. I need you to be her protector for the rest of her life. I need you to watch over her and this and that. And even she says to him, like, he meant on the ride, you fucking idiot.
and the thing about even before they get on the roller coaster and before the accident happens,
Oh, there's so much.
as she's going to the roller coaster, taking pictures, interacting with the rest of the cast, there's such thick foreshadowing
Oh, good Lord.
of what's about to happen that you know it's the third movie in the franchise. You already know a big accident's happening,
Yeah, you don't
but
need the foreshadowing, but
they were so thick with the foreshadowing in this particular one.
yeah.
Is yeah, like I liked it. You know what I mean? Even I kind of like those things. Um, the fact that yeah, she takes a picture of like one of the rides, and
It's like a death drop Tower of Terror type thing.
yeah, she looks at her camera, and one of the letters is not lit up, so the words die.
It says
Yep.
high die.
Yeah. It, most people would, you know, they might think it's cheesy, but I kind of, I don't know,
Oh,
I like it.
it's definitely cheesy, but I think that's, to
It's
me,
fitting.
that's one of the endearing things of this franchise and this movie.
Yeah. And that for me, that's where this franchise shines. It's that build up, that tension.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and I
Yeah.
will say, like I say, I've only seen the second and third, but there are very few franchises that can portray brutal, accidental, massive death scenes like these,
Yeah.
because the roller coaster scene in this movie, it is brutal,
It's pretty
but it's
brutal, but not really bloody. Like
no,
it's not,
there's, and the parts that are bloody are very, like, a you blink and you miss it.
yeah, but it's still pretty bad
Oh yeah.
because a lot of it, they like a lot of the people are kind of killed off screen, so you can
Yeah,
kind of put your own imagination to what actually happened.
yeah, you can come to your own conclusion, exactly. I mean, and then so basically, yeah, they get off the ride, the roller coaster crashes, and so I honestly don't even remember what order that they go to. Oh no, I believe the first
The first two
ones
is
are the girls, aren't they?
boyfriend. Yeah, it's their significant others.
Well, no,
And
but there's them. But I mean, after they get off the ride, the first two are the tanning girls, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, because they
Yeah.
were behind. They would have been next, right? If
Yes.
they.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So these characters, if you want to see
The
anything like
clutch.
from the early to mid aughts of what movies portrayed high school girls to look like, it is these two all day long.
They were
And
cliche. The
that's what I
popular
mean.
hot bimbo
And they're
chicks.
and they're and they're wearing the velour matching jogging suits with the fucking thongs sticking out the
Very
back. And
early. This whole movie is very early 2000s.
oh yes, absolutely it is. And I mean, this is just something. This is, I don't know why I do this, but this being a high school movie, and I don't know why I always view it this way, but for some reason, whenever I watch a high school movie, in my brain, this could be because of my love of movies like Friday Night Lights and Varsity Blues. I always picture them taking place in Texas. I have no idea why.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I mean that's completely. No, it is. It's. I don't know what it is, but I know this one doesn't. But it just. I don't know. For some reason,
I mean, everything is bigger in Texas, so
which could you imagine? Could you imagine if it took place in Texas and they went with that? Everything is bigger in Texas. How big this roller coaster crash could have been?
my God. My God.
Oh, it would have been bigger than fucking than when Superman fought Zod in Man of Steel.
Right? Talk about city destruction.
But I digress. Anyway, I'm sorry for the interruption. But so yeah, we go back to these two. They basically now their big introduction is for their first introduction is at the carnival, and then there's another character who we'll bring up later, who's what we
This
would call nowadays
motherfucker.
cringy
Oh
and
my
cancelled.
God.
But we'll
Oh,
get to him. We'll get to him later. But
come on, leave,
so
dude.
yeah, these girls decide. Well, first they invite Wendy with them because they're going to go tanning so that they look good for graduation. And they even are saying, then they invite her, and as she walks away, they're like, that was really good of us. Like that really stupid high school girl trope, like the popular girls are.
The cliche plastic girls,
That's
you know.
exactly what it is. And it's annoying, it's irritating because I mean, I don't yeah, I'm sure there are people like this, but I don't I think this is a very clear exaggeration. Now obviously
Oh yeah.
I was never in that circle because I am not a female.
I think
So I didn't deal with that
every
little.
actor aside from the the two main stars are pretty exaggerated cliches
Oh
of,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I think pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, they go to this tanning salon, which is run by again another stereotypical type character. He's the
Like
foreign
the art,
Russian or Eastern
like
European who's on the
Indian,
phone, and he's on the phone
they go,
outside on the phone being yelled at by his girlfriend or his wife, so he can't be there at the desk. And so they say, okay, it's fine, we'll go in, we know what we're doing, this and that. And they go in the room and they turn the heat up or whatever it is, but they end up getting in the tanning beds. And oh, here comes, they're being hunted by death.
and he always represents himself as a gust of wind.
A gust of wind, and a few times in this movie and the last movie as a song that you hear. It's not in this scene, but
The
there.
second one, I thought honestly the one like the third movie introduced like the song.
Well, the second one, I believe.
I haven't seen the second one in a long time.
You know what? I actually, You might be right because I remember the second one having to focus on AC/DC Highway to Hell, but that was just the song that was playing on the radio when they got into the car accident. So that might have just been what that was. But yeah, this one is there's someone walking behind you.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know the band.
I looked it up. It said it was the Bee Gees. I had no idea that's what it
God,
was, but
like the Turtles or something.
yeah, I just know that there are several times in this movie where you kind of hear that, and it's kind of like you say, it's almost like that personification of death itself, as well as the gust of wind and the random things kind of moving on their own, and like in this one, I think they put a CD in it or something, and you see the shelf kind of the bracket start to come pull out of the wall, and
Yeah, and like Death puts like tanning lotion. Oh, no, he does
the
something.
sunscreen, yeah.
Yeah, to like so the door can lock. First of all, you're using tanning lotion as a door stopper. Whatever.
Well, and you're using a little what basically looks like a tube of toothpaste. Like there's no rigidity to it.
True.
Why would you ever think that was a good idea?
I don't know. He was getting yelled at by his wife, so he did whatever he
That
could.
was his focus, yeah.
So
So
I
yeah,
get it.
they get this, and this is to me the brutal
Oh, this is the
death
worst.
of the
It's one of the
movie.
worst deaths in the entire franchise. I've seen the first, second, third. I've seen the Final Destination,
That's
at least 3/4 of it.
the
The fourth one,
fifth, I think.
either the fourth or the fifth, and nothing beats this one because a lot of the deaths in the franchise, like the sequels, are pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah.
This one,
They're
long.
usually instant.
This is a slow burn, literally. Pun
Literally,
intended.
yeah. They get stuck. The shelf falls and kind of wedges both of their tanning beds closed. And as the heat is rising, you're literally watching these girls just
Oh,
cook. And let's not forget, they throw in that typical horror thriller movie trope. These girls you have to see them naked. So there has to be that nudity factor, and
horror movie and boobs go hand in hand.
they go hand in hand. Now, they have since the beginning of the genre, I'm sure.
You know, we don't get much boobs. We got a little bit of boobs. Hey, I'm not hating on it. You know what I mean? I was
Absolutely.
I was what came out 2006. So I was like,
But there is a part that kind of worries me a little bit, and I'll get to in just a second. So
and that
yeah, they cook up and literally fall through the glass onto the light bulbs, and they're burning, and
oh my god,
it is a horrific
that's
death
awful.
scene.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But like I say, the questionable bit of a cringe moment is when you get to their funeral, and everybody's there, including all their classmates, including all the people who were on the roller coaster with them, or who got off, I should say, not all of them, because, well, obviously. But so the priest is talking, and then all of a sudden the one guy pipes up. He's playing like
He's the goth.
the outcast goth kid, and he says, why is this okay to happen? I mean, you got guys like Charles Manson lives till he's 70, and I think he brings up Osama bin Laden, which hasn't aged overly well. And then he goes, and these girls didn't even live to see 18. I paused the movie. I went, hang on, hold on a second. You're telling me that these girls, I get the actresses are over 18. You're telling me these characters are supposed to be underage. They're 17 years old, and you have no problem showing them an underage character nude? That was a little weird. That was a little weird there.
A little bit, but we all know they're adult women.
No, I'm not saying the actresses were underage, but to even insinuate
Really, come on, hell no, I would not be into that.
it's like, dude, why? Just change one word.
Yeah, they were still in high school, so yeah, they were definitely still.
Yeah, but I knew people who were 18 in high school. Just change one word. these girls just turned 18 or whatever. That's all you got to do, and then it's perfectly fine.
It's 2006, baby. That's my only explanation. Times were different back then.
Oh, they sure were, but I don't know if it's an explanation. I don't know if it's a good explanation.
No, I never said it. It definitely not. Definitely not. But I guess it was a hole that they didn't really care
Or they
to.
didn't, or they didn't think about it.
Yeah, it is a popcorn horror movie. So no, they didn't put much thought into that, I'm assuming.
No, I think they were more concerned about the deaths as opposed to the depth of the script or whether or not the script made sense.
Or just certain dialogue should have been rewritten.
Yeah, but so yeah, after that death, I'm actually having a hard time remembering the order of who was next. Was it? It was yeah, yeah, okay.
It was the dude that
It was
it was
Frankie
that dude.
Cheeks. What a name, dude.
Motherfucker looked like Stewart from goddamn Big Bang Theory. Goddamn
He,
creepy ass. He would have been canceled immediately.
dude, he
If
would have been from the. I think it's the very
from the
first scene.
horniest character, because early 2000s type movies, there has to be a horny. There's got to be a horny character.
There's been that character since McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's where it started, and it just
yeah.
continued on and went
There
into
was a
Stifler and this guy and
there was a questionable scene in the beginning of the movie where the dude takes a picture, does an upskirt picture, and it's like,
yeah,
but the girls know that he took a picture, and they're not really, even though they're kind of disgusted, but
as
not.
disgusted as
They
they should
should
be.
not. Yeah, they should have been way more.
Well, and the girl who she's literally the one who has the camera. It's the school's camera. She's taking pictures for the yearbook, and
Yeah,
she makes. I didn't write it down, and I don't remember the quote verbatim, but it was something about. She goes, I don't need a picture of such and such's camel toe in the yearbook, and the kid goes, I'd buy two.
yeah, it's
What
pretty
the
much.
fuck?
That's early 2000.
The script of this movie is insane. I mean, it's comically insane, like how crazy it is. And this Frankie Cheeks might take the cake because he's talking to the two plastic girls, as you referred to them, as they're in line for the roller coaster, and he says something to them, and they turn to him and go, "Why are you here? Didn't you graduate like 2 years ago?" And his quote, I wrote this down. He says, "I stuck around to monitor your development."
Yeah, and then he follows up with, "You guys are so hot."
Yeah. And he says to them when they get on the roller coaster, he goes, "I dare you to flash them sweet, sweet titties when we go through the loop." Like,
Mm.
come on.
Dude, you will be. That's illegal. You're an adult, and they are still teenage girls, right?
Like that's that
Hey, what? Okay, all right, all right, all right.
I'm just glad that they made it. They insinuated that he had graduated a couple years ago, but I'm glad they didn't actually say his age because that would have made it that much worse.
Yeah, motherfuckers at least 20.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2021, like,
At least 20.
which is, but yeah. So he's the next death. They end up. They're trying to figure out and at this point, Wendy has realized that her pictures of everybody the night of the carnival or amusement park, where they keep calling it a carnival, but they keep insinuating, or sorry, not insinuating. She realizes by looking through the pictures on her computer that she can get hints of how these people are going to die based on pictures that were taken that night. For
I think it
example, she sees the tanning girls holding an inflatable palm tree, and the picture it looks almost like they're standing in front of like flames, like they're in like a
the
kind of
light was
orange,
elongated.
yeah, like an orangey glow.
Yeah, I think it was when she saw that picture is when she started to put the pieces together that each picture correlated with how they were going to die.
Yeah. So they find this. They're looking for Frankie Cheeks' picture, and they're thinking, oh, he wears this necklace, he this, he that. Well, none of it makes any sense, and this and that, and so the next scene after the funeral, apparently after you go to a classmate's funeral, you have to stop and get fast food. I mean, that's what we all do, isn't it?
Yeah, I gotta
So
have
they,
2 Whoppers after
yeah,
that
or
visit.
something, but so they stop at a fast food place, and while they're there, the guy in front of them is taking his sweet time, and he actually flips them off. But then there's a couple behind them who seem to be arguing, and this guy is so excited to get his fucking cheeseburger or nuggets or whatever it is. He's just so amped up.
Like you
But
just
then,
wanted food.
yeah, he wants something. That's all he can think about. That's all he needs for the rest of his day. And then behind them, you see at the top of a hill, a truck starts rolling down the hill with no driver. And they're panicking, trying to get out. The guy in front of them won't move. The couple behind them sees this and reverses out of the way. And in order to get out, apparently I didn't realize it was this easy. He just leans back and just kicks the windshield once, and pop, out it comes.
Right? Was that shit already loose?
I The only time I've ever seen that in a movie is if it's first riddled with gunshots.
Well,
This, he just leans back and kicks it.
wasn't there like a garbage truck or something like backing into the car
Oh,
too,
yeah,
trapping
you
them?
know what? You're right. It does it, but I don't know. That might have cracked the windshield, so I could have missed that part.
I don't know if it cracked the windshield. It might have though.
But either way, he kicks it out. They get out, and this truck slams into his pickup truck, and I think it's part of the end. The engine
I
shoots
think
out
the
the
whole
front of
goddamn
the truck, and who is in that car in front of them who had flipped them off? Frankie Cheeks. And the fucking fan or flywheel, whatever it is on the engine, literally is halfway into the back of his head, spraying blood and brains and
yeah,
everything.
like
That's
digging into.
another brutal one.
I think it was brutal, but I think that would have been the way I would have got out because he didn't feel shit.
No,
That shit was
not
quick, didn't feel anything, done.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and obviously
But
they're horrified, but
yeah, 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 it was brutal, but quick,
it was very quick.
very quick. And you kind of knew something was going on. The fact that they weren't showing the dude's face, they were showing everybody else's face.
Yeah.
You knew something was up, but
Yeah, because
like,
what would the reason be? Not, I mean, I get that maybe even if they would have wanted to be like, well, I mean, if he's not important to the story, why do we have to show his face? You know what I mean? But no, it was obvious what they were trying to do, and
yeah,
and then as soon as you see him, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
hmm it was effective.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely effective, and it's I
What's effective for it, and is the way the lead actress or the Wendy
yep,
she reacts to it. I think honestly that's part of the reason why she got casted.
she
Is
has
because
good reactions for
she
these
can react,
deaths.
and her emotions when she reacts are pretty damn strong.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't. It doesn't look like she's actually going through something like this because I'm pretty sure you'd be a little bit more distraught than people are in films. But
But up to where she
it's
sells it.
believable enough. Yes.
Definitely sells it, which is what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that, they go back to the computer and they're trying to see, okay, who's next on our list. Well, it's this football player. This big football player
Oh,
who Lewis, I think his name is, but
this motherfucker.
dude, this, you want to talk about exaggeration.
Cliches. You want to talk about cliches?
So that he's next level cliche of high school football player. Now, so they're looking at his thing, and the picture they see in the background, there's this cartoon version of they call it a sultan who's got two big sabers, and they're like, oh, well, that's got to have something to do with it because he's down. Now, what I'm misunderstanding is how long, did they ever specify how long it's been? So they say that
Like days.
well, no, but they say the crash happened, and then they refer to them going to graduation. Now, how much time in between graduation and the roller coaster accident would you assume has happened? Are we thinking weeks, days, months? Like,
Probably like within a week or two. I'm assuming. So I think it was like senior last one of the last trips, or if not the last thing that the seniors are doing. So I'm assuming it's probably within a week, maybe
yeah,
two.
okay. So that's a little strange because they say that when they try to figure out where he's at, they say, "Oh, there's the thing in the picture." Well, that's exactly where that's going to be the cause of his death because he's already at some kind of training camp for college football.
Yeah, which is
And I'm
football.
like, wait a second. You school ends in like June. I don't think you can even show up on campus. I mean, this is the state, so this is completely different for those of you unaware. We are located in Canada, so things are a little different here than in the states. But I don't think you can even go to campus until like mid-August at least would be my assumption. I don't think they're running training camps like a week after high school graduation. I could be wrong, but
Maybe when it comes to football, they do it early just for the advantage. I don't know.
yeah,
I-
I mean it's definitely possible.
I'm assuming they take football very serious over there, so I wouldn't doubt that they would allow those students to at least train months ahead of when they start school.
It's very possible. Um, I know that, yeah, like you said, they do take college football very seriously. So, like you say, it wouldn't shock me. Um, but that being said, like I say, you want to talk about an exaggeration of
Oh,
a
bro.
trope or anything. Now, I played football in high school. I didn't play in college, but I played football in high school. I've been in weight rooms with guys doing
Yeah.
work, like working out for, like, obviously as football players, this and that.
So yeah,
These guys
I've,
are next level.
I've been working out in many gyms since I was in high school, and that was many moons. I graduated in 2005. A year before this movie came out. So yeah, uh, I'm used to a lot of dudes that are really into working out, but the atmosphere that they created in that scene is like the most testosterone filled manly men acting I have ever witnessed.
Oh, it was way over the top. I mean, you've got,
Screaming and grunting and like literally like yelling
well,
for on
well, the funniest thing is, like
slamming
I say,
weights.
well,
No,
this is supposed to be training camp. The
yeah,
way they set it up is if they're preparing for a game that week because
much. They're
they've got
so
like a taxidermied bear in the locker room in the gym with them, as if they're getting hyped up to play against that team, which they call the Bruins. And every time anybody says Bruins, every guy working out, fuck the Bruins, fuck the Bruins. And it's like, what am I watching here?
Right?
And then when it's all happening, like all the Rube Goldberg accidents and whatnot is happening, there's a guy literally standing in front of the bear with 2 dumbbells, and he's just growling, lifting these things, and he's going ah. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
What, you don't curl weight?
Not like that.
Bro, then you're doing it wrong. No. Nobody does that.
I've also never been in a gym that has a full-size stuffed bear.
No, I don't think any of them really, besides that gym, has one. But no, yeah, like that whole scene is so goddamn cranked up to the max. It's not even the person who wrote that and directed that has never been in a weight room.
No, never.
Ever in their life.
No, and they just have preconceived notions of what guys are like working out, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to amplify it just a little bit. No, you amplified it a shit ton.
Yeah, but it makes the scene and what happens.
Oh, it makes it. This is
funnier.
my favorite. This is my favorite one, and
That
just
might even have been the director's intention.
It might, because just the way
up.
it happens.
Yeah.
Again, this might make me sound kind of morbid. I laughed pretty fucking hard.
I'm glad that motherfucker died. He's the only character in this movie that I was like, you know what? He deserved it. I don't even care, man. I'm not even sad. I don't even care, man. He was like, he died tight. Can we move?
And they're trying to warn him, and he's like, he's completely ignoring it. And he's doing it as he's working out, and it's the grunting. No, my life has worked out exactly as I wanted. I played all through high school, not a single injury. I got signed to a college, blah 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 blah. And then he goes on. I think he's on a shoulder press or a shoulder pull down, whatever it's called.
It's some type of pull down.
And as he's doing it, he's just slamming. And apparently, you slam weights, and they've got these 2 giant sabers mounted on the wall above him that apparently are battle ready and razor sharp. Which, why are they even real? Number 1. And just number 2, why are they sharp?
Just in case the bear comes to life?
Apparently. Because he's slamming this fucking machine, and all of a sudden these things let go.
He's slamming it obnoxiously. Bro, have some respect. You know what? See, that's why I was happy that he went out
the way because his weight room etiquette wasn't up to snuff.
He was, yeah. Well, when the sabers come down and like cut the wire or something, it like does something to the machine that he's working on.
Yeah, I that's not really quite clear. It's almost like they're insinuating that those wires were holding the weights in a certain position, because the next time he does it,
his dumbass continues with it.
Oh, he fucking slams it again. He's like, he says something like,
"I'm gonna live forever."
I think he's screaming, "Fuck death."
Something like that, man.
And he just he hits that machine, and it slams, and those weights start at the top, and then they slams
the weight, screams, and then that fucking thing comes. I don't know how it comes down, but it comes down.
Yeah, it's like they're at the top, and they separate and swing down and collapse right and just smush his head, and it's just a splatter. And I laughed out loud.
It's most satisfying death. It was the only one where you're like, yeah, this guy definitely had it coming.
I mean, the way some of them, not that I'll say they had it coming, but back to when they originally were on the roller coaster, these people are so mean to this girl who's terrified about just wanting to get off a ride. They're like, shut her fucking bitch ass up. Like, she's just a whiner who wants attention.
Was completely
vilifying her.
Like, bro, no one would actually response.
No, they'd be like, "Oh, you're scared? Okay, get off the ride. The rest of us will go have fun. We'll see you in a minute."
Exactly.
No,
But
but they're oh, she only wants attention. She this, that, and the other. It's like nobody would react this way.
no, and yeah, and the way she was reacting, like I said,
No,
actress.
if someone is that terrified of a situation, the people working there are going to be like, "Okay, let's get her off."
Yeah, and the fact that the workers completely ignored the boyfriend wanting to get off.
Oh yeah, he's like, "That's my girlfriend." They're like, "Oh, start. Here we go."
Nah. Shout out to those workers for not giving a fuck.
Well, those are the typical pimply faced teenagers. Like, "Oh, what's that? Someone wants off? Nope, too bad. Here we go."
And a quick sidebar, that roller coaster, you knew something terrible was gonna happen based on
Yes, I forgot
the
to mention
voice
this.
of that comes on when you're around the ride. I guess it like is the recording that you hear when you're
Welcoming you in the line or whatever.
the reason why you know something is going to happen to the ride is because of the person who is the voice behind
It's
that.
the Candyman.
Yeah. A voice I instantly recognized. I
I
didn't recognize when I watched it,
years
the
ago.
3 times I watched it before, but this time around, yeah, I got it right away.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's unrecognizable, and those of you who might not know who we're referring to, it is of course Mr. Tony Todd, who was in the first movie and in the second movie, but instead of having him in this movie as his Bloodworth character, I believe was his name, they just have him as the entrance announcer, I guess you'd call it, on this Devil's Flight roller coaster.
Yeah, which I'm starting to believe that he is death.
I
He
think that's what it's supposed to be, is he's the personification of death itself.
throughout the whole series, like whenever you see that character, he's death, which makes sense. I didn't really
But
connect those dots back in the day, but that makes whole types of sense.
I've thought that for a long time, but you know what? Now now that I think about it, because before watching um, Final Destination 3, I watched the second one again. Um, in that movie, he's telling them how to beat. He tells them how to beat death, or how to get around death's plan. Now, if
Yep.
he is supposed to be death itself, why would he tell them that?
Do you know why? I think death is just bored,
And
and
it's
I
like he's just playing games with them,
he's just trying. Yeah, he's just trying to have fun
seeing
with it.
what they'll do.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
You know, I never thought of it that way, but it
He's
kind of
playing both
like,
sides just to see what's gonna happen because he's just he's been death forever. So I'm assuming he's just like let's let's give
yeah,
him a chance.
that's not that far fetched actually. Now that you say that, I just I've thought that, like I say, for a long time, that he was death itself, and then I watched the second one and I'm going, wait a second, if he's supposed to be death, why is he all of a sudden telling them, well, if you want to defeat death, this is how you do it.
Yeah, but I always thought like why would he know so goddamn much about death if he wasn't death himself, and why would he tell them how to escape? You know what I mean? So that's why I came up with the fact that I think he's just playing with these people. He's just toying. It's like playing with your food.
Yeah, because again, I mean, he's the voice here, and later in the movie we'll get to it again. His voice makes another appearance in another very ominous situation. So you know what? It's very possible. It's an interesting theory in it, and I think you might be onto something. Because like I say, I've thought of it, but now that you say that, it does make a lot of sense. That yeah, he could just be bored and kind of having some fun with, as you say, like you say, playing with your food.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
But yeah. So after now, I gotta say, this is now 4 deaths that they've been. They weren't at the tanning salon, so I guess just 2 deaths that they were at the direct crime scene of. These 2 would be in a holding cell in a police station.
Well, they already kind of did that with the first one, so that's why they probably they didn't want to retread that water, even though it's obvious that, yeah, she would have been like suspect number 1.
Well, either suspect number 1 or they would be in a padded room talking to a psychiatrist.
But that played a heavy part in the first one, so that's what
All
I'm
that,
assuming.
like the psychiatric stuff too, because
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that hurts me not seeing the first one, but I do know that Ali Larter's character is in a psychiatric hospital in the second one, so I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so after this, it does. I believe it. No, it doesn't show them leaving a police station. No, it just shows them getting into their car, and this is when the Kevin and Wendy, their characters, first bring up the fact that they get in the car and they're gonna go find the next people who are in line, and this is when they Kevin says to her, like, you know that we're gonna have to look at our own pictures when it comes to a certain point, right? And she kind of says, like, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when the time comes, but like almost like I'm not quite ready yet, or I don't think it's necessary quite yet, because we're the last 2 in this line, and there's still at least 2 or 4 people ahead of us.
Yeah. Which I understand. A part of me at first would want to, until the guy, he explained that if he knew, he'd be obsessive over it. And then once he said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'd probably be be over obsessive too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That checks out.
And then there is a little spot of levity, a little bit of comedy, where he says something as they're getting in the car. He's like, I wasn't like in a car accident or like crushed by a steering wheel or anything like that. Like, ha 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 ha, as we're getting into a car. But from there, they go to the next people on death's list, and it's the goth couple, the outcast couple, that they're working what looks like an overnight shift in like a Home Depot, and
yeah, like a mom and pop style Home Depot.
And this fucking guy is using a nail gun with the safety turned off to shoot pigeons that are up on the top shelves to get them out of the store. Like, dude, you are the makings of a serial killer at this point.
There are other ways to get rid of these pigeons besides straight murdering them with a fucking hardware tool, dude.
But
yeah, that's serial killer shit.
Oh yeah, but they're there explaining to them what's going on, and this is when this guy McKinley is his name, which is funny because it's the same name as the high school they go to, but that comes up later. He basically says, like, well, if you're telling me that death has this master list and we're all on it and we have to go in this certain order, then wouldn't it make sense for the person who's at the end of the list to just kill themselves and kind of save everybody ahead of them, insinuating, Wendy, why don't you be the strong person and just take your own life, and then we'll all be saved?
Yeah, which when he said that and added the fact that all these like setups to their deaths, like the thing that sets it up, like the the wind coming in and blowing the thing, blowing off the chain and all that. That's why my theory started to become like stronger, in my opinion, because if death had that much power to control the situation to kill the person, he should have like guaranteed that those persons would have died in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But the whole thing with that is that doesn't work. If you've seen these movies, in the second one, the one guy he said he's not the last in line, but it's not his turn to die, and he takes the one cop's gun, it's a revolver, and he literally puts it to his temple and pulls the trigger 6 times, and nothing happens. And even the cop opens the chamber of the gun, and the guy goes, all duds, and he goes, 6 in a row? That's impossible.
yeah, so
So
maybe death was intervening because it was messing with his.
exactly. So if that were the case, this guy's theory wouldn't matter anyways,
No.
because it would be invalid.
And it's one of my biggest gripes with this movie, this one specifically, and the other ones too, but this one specifically is that everyone is so dismissive when this woman who
They
already
think she's
predicted,
insane.
yeah, she already saved your life by predicting the outcome of what happened.
But now the
So
fact that she's trying to do it again, they're like, you're fucking
they
crazy.
completely 100% dismiss her. Like, come on, dude. I
That would
know if someone saved my life through a prediction, I'm hearing everything. I'm going to believe anything she says from
yeah.
then on out. You know what I mean?
Until she's proven wrong, yeah, I'm gonna listen to it.
Exactly. And the fact that no one believed her except for the lead actor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the only one who even was willing to go along with this hunch. And I think even he was a little skeptical. And then they heard about the first one, and he kind of went like, huh, maybe she's onto something here.
Yeah, because the lead actress was skeptical. It was the lead actor.
But even these people, she's like, I told the girls, I told Lewis, oh no, I don't care. I'm not listening to you. It's like,
Right?
what?
I mean, that is a thing that happens in these movies. Um, Going all the way back to the first one, it's just a gripe that bothers me because if someone
I can
predicts
understand that.
something like that, you're gonna listen to anything they have to say after the fact.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
Yeah, that happens 3 movies in a row.
Yeah.
By the way.
No, so this couple is closing up for this store for, as what they refer to as, Osama bin supervisor,
Good
which
lord.
I don't know if that's something that has not aged well, and probably wasn't too great at the time either. But because I don't know if they're insinuating that he's hard, like he's I hate to use this term, but he's the terror to work for, or I have a feeling that they're insinuating that this boss manager of theirs is a gentleman of Middle Eastern descent,
Listen,
which is very upsetting.
but see, that's that early 2000s humor, man.
They thought it was
Care,
funny.
they care about offending any race.
Yeah,
Every race could get it. So that's why I'm leaning towards the fact that yeah, their boss is probably of Middle Eastern descent.
that's kind of what I was thinking, and the fact that you don't even see the person, it's like, yeah, I think that's what was being insinuated in that line.
Mm,
But this is another brutal death. So they're
yeah.
all standing around, and somehow a forklift starts moving on its own, and it
Right? How the
it
fuck did that thing move? Did it have keys in there?
I thought the
That
same
shit
thing.
was moving like it was turned on and shit.
Yeah,
God damn that.
something just lands on the gas pedal, and it starts moving on its own, and it starts knocking things down and knocking giant sheets of plywood on, almost on top of them, and all of a sudden this guy's girlfriend falls down, and her head, there's just a nail gun plugged in or turned on, whatever, sitting facing outward on a shelf, and her head, the back of her head hits it, and you just see about 18 nails shoot out the front of her face.
While her hand is
Her
like kind
hand is in front of it.
of, so when she gets impaled, the nails are like stuck through her head to her hand.
Yeah.
That shit is horrible.
Yeah. I will say I have a note here that says not a great effect, uh, special effect of I don't know if it was a mask or what they used for her, because in that scene when they show it close up a couple times, it almost looks like her face was like half melting. I thought, anyways.
Yeah, like the fact that you're only really paying attention. Well, I am to like the nails going through her to like
Yeah.
really look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
But it was effective, man. That shit.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I never paid attention to that, but watching it more with a bit more of a more critical eye this time, I did notice that effect, and it kind of took me out of it for a second. But I can see you not noticing that or not paying attention to what her general look was during that whole thing. You're just focusing on the brutality of it.
Mm-hmm.
But so after that, obviously they think that, oh, we've saved him, the boyfriend. He just watched his girlfriend die, but he's still alive. So they go back, and then they're going to meet later that night at what they call the tricentennial, which you and I just spoke off mic about this before. I don't know what the hell they're referring to as a tricentennial, because the tricentennial of the United States won't be until 2076. But they keep referencing that it's the tricentennial of like 300 years of freedom of the town. And yet they're doing like Paul Revere's Midnight Run, and they've got Ben Franklin flying a kite, and which I will laugh. There's the scene where Ben Franklin's flying a kite, and then they just show Kevin, who's working security, and he just goes, "Fuck you, Ben Franklin."
Right? Like
I don't know what that was, but I couldn't stop laughing.
I do.
I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know if there was a deleted scene and the guy who was playing Ben Franklin or something, but I could not stop laughing. Fuck you, Ben Franklin.
He's Ben Franklin for some reason.
I guess. But yeah, so they're there, and at this point, we've now learned that there's a twist. There was somebody else on the ride who we didn't know who it was, but that twist has now been revealed, that in the picture, you see just a girl's arm and you see a charm bracelet. And who is that charm bracelet belong to? Wendy's younger sister.
A bracelet that they didn't notice the first time they looked at the picture. Even
Nope.
though they were examining the picture, they didn't know.
Forget that fact.
The obvious.
Her sister was on the roller coaster where the older sister's boyfriend died, and she never told her. That would be dinner conversation the next day.
She would have said something.
She would have been like, "Wasn't it so crazy? Wasn't it so crazy? We both got off that roller." Like, something would have been said.
Even if you didn't tell her that she was on it, she would have acted in a way where you would have known something was up with her.
Yes, there would have been signs. She would have known. But the movie makes it out to be this big, massive twist. So Wendy races to this tricentennial to save her sister, and so she gets a hold of Kevin, and she tells him that, I think it's, you got to save my sister, whose name I can't remember. Not that it matters, because her character doesn't matter really, I guess. But you got to help save my sister. So when she gets there, Kevin's trying to get her attention, and she just runs away from him like he's some guy trying to hit on her after she turned him down.
But he also is trying to avoid any type of firework or anything lit up.
Yes, I forgot about that.
He knows at this point how he's going to die.
Yeah, the picture shows his picture shows him screaming, and it's completely overexposed. Like, as he says, like a firework blew up, like a firework went off in my face, as he turns around to see a giant firework display being set up behind him. Yeah. But so then this happens where a horse, I forget how the horse loses it, but the horse freaks out.
Fireworks.
Oh, that's right. They shoot the fireworks off, and these fucking
the horse freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, that horse should never be around live fireworks. But you've got these two little fucking shithead teenagers
Oh yeah,
lighting up cherry bombs around this
right
horse,
behind it. Yeah, I forgot about that.
and it freaks out and it drags the spike that was in the ground, which wraps around the sister's throat, and it's gonna impale her on this farming equipment until Kevin grabs yet another sharp sword
Swords
from
are
a,
just lying on the ground in this town.
and he cuts the rope, saves her life, the whole thing. And this is another death that I laughed pretty hard at, because they're like, well, who was on the ride with you? And they look at her, at her one friend, and I don't remember where I don't know if it got blown up by a firework or something, but it's like a flagpole comes and impales her from behind and implants itself in the ground, and then she just has the slow slide down the pole.
She was crazy.
I laughed so hard, and I know that might sound morbid, but if you don't look at these movies with a little
It
bit
was
of,
made to like get a laugh out of somebody,
yeah,
man.
if you don't
Yeah,
look at these movies as just fun and laughable at some points,
edict.
I
Just
think you're watching them wrong.
the way they set that poor Asian girl's death was not to be taken serious at all.
No, and she's not a
Did
character.
she
She
even
doesn't,
have a line? She
not a
just died.
line. They
She
literally
just
just look at her and her eyes go wide, and then it's just
dead.
impaled dead.
Did you
She's
dead?
not even a character.
God damn. R.I.P.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that one was like one of those just get like throwaway deaths.
Yeah. But then the next one is, now it's time for it to be Wendy, and they've now saved Kevin. I think I can't remember how they saved Kevin at this point, or was that how they saved Kevin? Was that whole situation?
I think something was gonna. No, yeah, they save him because something caught on fire and exploded. They pulled him
Oh,
over.
that's right. She pulls him out because it's like a propane tank that's going to explode or something.
Yeah, it was gonna blow up right in his face.
That's right. It wasn't a firework. They just assumed. Okay. So you can't assume with these death prediction photographs. You never know.
No, and that's the thing about this, in, like the movie too. Like sometimes they'll build the tension and they'll have you on the edge of your seat, and nothing will happen.
That's when it works. I
Yeah,
find that that's when the tension works, is when there is no payoff, because then you keep waiting and you keep going, well, if it wasn't there, when is it going to happen?
yeah, because you know what's gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just like, when
But
can we
but
just kill them?
but the
Yeah,
one from there is, this was another insane one, because then you see this kid whose girlfriend died. He's trying to get, he wants revenge on Wendy. It seems like, and he's kind of
yeah,
taunting her, because her photo was, she's just wearing a t-shirt that says McKinley, which is their high school, and that's his last name. So she's like, well, he must cause my death.
well, he does like a complete 180. He goes from not believing her at all to like being obsessed over this.
Yeah, and he's like, it looks like he's
Just
almost
because
like
he's upset.
taunting her, and he's like, oh, am I the one that causes your death, Wendy? Like,
Like,
and then all of a sudden he's standing under something that has just a giant sign that says McKinley, and
so
it's on
he
a big, like a
intended
big
killing her.
crane or something.
So he intended on killing her. Like he intended.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna do it. Maybe he had a gun
Well,
on him.
but hold on, did he hear that? I know I didn't. I've never noticed this until I was watching this last night. Did he intend on killing her, or she just said she was going to be killed by McKinley? That thing that he's standing under, that all of a sudden collapses and just crushes him, is a giant sign that says McKinley.
Yeah, I know
So
that too.
was it him that was going to kill her, or was she supposed to be standing there and the McKinley sign was what was going to kill her?
I think he was going to
Because
kill her.
I've
He
always thought it was
said,
him
why
too.
would he say that? Am I the one that kills you? If he wasn't gonna
I know I've always thought it was
directly
him too,
kill
but
her.
I never noticed that little detail until I was watching it last night, and I kind of went, oh,
I think
that's interesting.
he said that, I think he definitely, and the fact that he was following her the whole
Yeah.
time, I
Yeah, it
think
shows him following her in the car on the way to the tricentennial.
yeah, and he even had the theory that if she dies, maybe that skips everyone else. So maybe he still thought, okay, if I kill her, that'll save everybody. So I think that's also why he intended on killing her.
Yeah. So now that this is all taken care of, Kevin and Wendy think, "Oh, we're saved. We've cheated death. We've escaped death design, as they like to call it." And then it immediately just skips forward to 5 months later in what I'm assuming this is supposed to be, well, either like Chicago or New York City or something, because it just shows a generic subway.
I think it's New York. I don't think Chicago has subway system.
I thought they did, or they're the ones that have the above ground. I've never been to either. They might be the ones that have the above ground trains. But I've always looked at it as it's supposed to be New York City.
I think it is.
But it shows Wendy. It just says 5 months later, and she seems to be thriving. She's fully done up with the makeup and the hair, and she's with who she later says is her roommate. So I'm guessing they're now at college. She's with her roommate and another friend, and all of a sudden she hears something.
It's the guy. There's a guy playing a guitar.
That's right, it's that fucking song. The guy playing the guitar playing that someone behind you song, and she kind of like, huh, and looks out the window, and she sees in the reflection the car that they're on of the subway train is 180, which for people who don't know, it was flight 180 in the first one and highway 180, I believe it was, in the second one. And that's a very, and they mention that in this movie. They talk about, oh, prediction of death and this and that, and it's happened before and things like that. So that number is very ominous throughout this, at least through the first three movies.
Mhm.
And so she realizes as soon as they get to the next stop, she's like, I've got to get off this train. But the problem is, as she goes to get off the stop, there's a bunch of these generic sports fans with the painted faces and foam fingers and whatnot trying to get on the train, and she's not able to get off. And who gets on the train but her sister? And, oh, hi, nice to see you. I thought you were coming a day later. The whole thing. And she says to her, I had that feeling, I this and that, and so
Yeah,
it's
def
like, I think this might be happening again, so on and so forth. And they're like, well, no, it won't, because we stopped it. We're all here, and then all of a sudden Wendy just stops, and the
yeah,
camera pans, and there's Kevin.
yeah, yeah. The little sister said it's Kevin and me who die first. So as long as nothing happens to us, you have nothing to worry about.
That's right. And then you
Yeah,
see Kevin on the train, and they go talk to him. He's like, "Oh, I came in town for the big sports game." More or less is what he says.
right. Like, mhm.
And
That.
then
Yeah. That.
again, you
Oh,
hear those dulcet tones of Tony Todd as the subway announcer,
right.
and
Lee
what he
recognize.
keeps saying is, whatever the last stop is, he says about four times, "End of the line."
The end of the line. The train has a sign on it that says "End of the line."
Yeah, yeah. So then, of course, guess what happens? There's a huge fucking train crash, and these deaths are brutal too.
Yeah,
Kevin
but
gets sucked out a window.
he gets like dragged against the
The
fuck.
cement, yep, out the window.
Gets dragged out. Like,
Her,
god damn.
I think her sister is like ripped in half or something, and
She gets like something gets like thrown at her, and she just turns into fucking goo.
goop. Yeah, yeah, and then of course, just Wendy's laying there, and somehow another train comes along the tracks while she's laying in this destroyed
Train crashes. Yeah,
subway train. And just before the train hits her, sure enough, the camera pulls out of her eye, and it was another premonition.
but it's like a weak premonition because it's like, why? What was the point of this premonition when it happens seconds?
Well, that's what I was going to
Seconds after
say.
what's about to happen.
What's the
So
point?
even if
Because
you knew what was about to happen, you couldn't do anything.
no, because what happens is the doors close and basically the screen goes black and you just hear the screeching and the crashing and the screaming. So it's like, okay, so she saw the premonition, but it happened anyway. Why not just show the crash as if it happened and forget that it was a premonition at all? It just, oh, it crashed, they died, the end.
Or at least have her have the premonition when she's talking to her roommates just before it stops and the sports people come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could, or I would even like if they had it, um if they just did it where they end the premonition of the camera coming out of her eye and you cut to black and that's the end of the movie.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Anything then what?
So it's like, well, she had a premonition. Did they die? Did they get off the train? Like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of that ambiguity. It's that inception. Did the top fall? Did the you kind of you can make your own conclusion as to how
It's
it.
like it's ambiguous, but it's like, okay, we know she's dead. Like we know she didn't survive. It's like
Yes.
he wanted it to be ambiguous, but it's obvious what happened.
Oh, it's
Obvious
very
what
obvious.
happened, but they wanted it to be ambiguous. It's like they wanted to eat their cake and have it too.
Yeah.
It's no, because we know she's dead. Like
Yeah.
there's no did she survive? Nah. You made it clear that she was not making it out of there.
No. But one of my favorite things is as it cuts to black, because the movie ends with them on a train, they start
Oh,
playing they start playing Love Train, which I just started laughing. I thought that was the absolute icing on the cake.
that was a thing in the movie too, because the two tanning bed chicks, they were listening to Roller
Roller
Coaster,
Coaster of Love.
which is a fire ass song. I
Oh,
love
it's a,
that.
and
Shout out
that
to Beavis and Butthead Do America, by the way,
100%. But
because
that's
that
one that part when they're actually in the tanning bed. That part's actually fun because it shows like they're tapping their feet and they're
and you know what's funny about that particular scene that
is
for
it
that
keeps playing while they're dying.
that and the fact that just before when they're selecting music, they're like
Oh, who listens to
selecting,
this shit of these
yeah,
CDs?
they're like talking about the current music for that time was like Britney and this. They don't know
Yeah,
what good music is, right? Applying that, okay, whatever is the newer music is what they're into.
yeah, yeah. Because
The
the one girl's like, "Oh, I
the
forgot my
song, yeah, right? The fact that they got into a song from like the 70s.
Yeah. Well, the one girl's like, the only reason is because the girl's like, I forgot my iPod. So it's like, well, they've got CDs, and the girl just randomly grabs one after reading
Yeah.
all those titles.
Yeah, so yeah, you could tell, yeah, it was definitely music at the time that was even outdated then. But the fact that, yeah, they were jamming out to a song from like the 70s,
Yeah.
which I get it, it's a fire song and it's, in theme of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. It just that's yeah, because of the roller coaster, obviously, and then I just like I say, the icing on the cake was Love Train at the end.
Oh, jeez.
I thought it was hysterical.
It tells you what kind of movie this is. It's
Yeah,
it's a horror movie, but okay, let's be a little silly, let's not be so serious about this. This is a fun, entertaining popcorn bubblegum movie. That's
one
what you
hundred percent.
which I appreciate those movies, especially in the horror genre.
In any, well, I like them in any genre because it's fun to be able to escape and to just watch a movie for fun and not, like you say, not have to take it so goddamn seriously.
Yeah, man. The movies where you can turn your brain off, they definitely have a place in the world of
Well,
cinema.
I've always used this analogy as amazing of a movie as it was, not every movie needs to be as serious, not every movie needs to be Schindler's List. You know what I mean? Like that movie is. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic movie. Steven Spielberg made an incredible movie in that movie in Schindler's List. But not everything has to be that serious. You're
No.
allowed to make a movie just for fun. I mean, hell, they made 10 Fast and Furious movies. They've made all these Final Destination, Saw. Like they're all just for fun. Like
Yeah, there's a reason why those movies have lasted 10 plus goddamn movies.
family.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's one. That's the main reason. This is
And
that.
Coronas.
Yeah, we just want to, with our movie, some of our movies, we just want to have fun.
Yeah, that's. Don't get me wrong. I love those deep movies like that make you think in that. But there are times when I just want to turn my brain off and just watch a stupid action movie or a horror comedy horror, like what I call this a comedy horror myself. But
Yeah,
it's fun.
which is why I totally recommend this movie if you just want a fun ride of a movie that's
And
not taking it.
I don't even know if I'd call it a horror movie. I don't find it scary one little bit. I
It's
would
got
call it
horror
more of a
because of it doesn't have to be like in your face scary, but like the fact that it was a roller coaster and that plays on people's fears of roller coasters, right?
good.
And
That's good
you
pun.
carry on that once you get onto a roller coaster, you'll call back to this movie.
Yeah.
So I think when it in that aspect, you can call it a genre. It's definitely in the genre or the horror movie realm. It's just a subgenre, man. It's horror plus.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of Final Destination 3. You want to start? Would you recommend this movie, and what would you rate this movie? We've been using a 5-point scale. I think we'll just continue with
Yeah,
that.
I've seen I'd have to double check if I've seen all of the Final Destinations, but I've seen enough of them to know that this is one of the better ones out of the franchise for sure. I would say the first one is my favorite, and I'm gonna say the third one is probably the second for sure. Heck yeah, I would recommend this to anybody that likes horror without the seriousness and serious scare, gory of a horror movie. I mean, it does have some gore, but it it happens in a blink of an eye. It's not gore porn like the Saw franchise.
Yeah, and
Um,
I find that the gore is very quick. It's
exactly.
like I said, it's blink and you miss it, and it's off screen.
Yeah, it does what it needs to do. It gets the job done, and then you move on. Um,
Except for the engine in the head. That's the only one that stays on screen for, and
for
the tanning beds, but they're pretty quick. Both of those.
Mhm. But yeah, it like I said, yeah, it's the definition of a popcorn movie, which and for that reason, I definitely recommend it. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, okay, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I think this is an incredibly fun and entertaining movie. Like you say, it's not something that I would ever take too seriously. So um, I just have a great time watching this. And like I said, I haven't seen the first one, but I rewatched the second one actually shortly before I watched the third. And I had a lot of fun with that one too. And I used to think, to me, the second one used to be better than the third, but during this rewatch, I've got to change that statement, and I think the third one is better than the second one. The second one just has some parts that I didn't find all
The
that great
second one
or
had
compelling.
the second one had the best accident. I
Yes,
guess
that car accident is fucking
yeah,
incredible.
the most impactful accident, I would say.
Multiple impacts.
Because that I think the second one, the accident, it like takes longer than the other ones.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good
length
6,
of it.
7 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, in its effectiveness to control an entire generation to come after that to never drive behind a truck is solidified.
Yeah, I have that same thought. If I ever see, I've never seen a logging truck because we're not really around. We're not really around a logging industry, but we have we have quite a lot of industrial places around here. And if I see anything that's ever just in a flatbed of a truck that's not covered and it's just strapped down, I'm always wary of that because of that movie.
Exactly.
And I haven't been on a roller coaster. I love roller coasters, but I haven't been on one, I don't think, since I've seen this movie, that like anytime recently. So I don't really think of that, but I can understand how going on a roller coaster, it would pop into your head and it's like, well, I'm a little nervous here, little freaked out, but I could definitely see that.
No, yeah. That's that would be my thinking. This motherfucker is definitely gonna crash. I'm dead. Nice no. I'm
I
out.
will say, if I got onto a roller coaster and all of a sudden I heard Tony Todd's voice, I'm out.
Bro, if I hear a deep voice even near that shit, I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm leaving.
I would
You
never get if that ever happened, I'm done. Nope. Get me out of here.
I've seen this before.
Yeah. But no, like I say, it's a great. I think it's again, there I go, a great movie. I think it's a greatly entertaining movie. It's a lot of fun. It's a really fun ride to go on, and just to shut your brain off and just like you say, have fun with a popcorn horror movie, and especially with Halloween being tomorrow, the day of this recording. I thought it was a pretty fitting way to end this. I guess you call it this spooky season. So I actually am going to mirror yours, and I actually have this as a 7 out of 10 as well.
Copycat.
No, I had that. That's what I was. I actually had it as I was thinking I might have wanted to go a little bit higher, but I thought I don't think I can give much higher for this movie in particular. But no, I
No.
really enjoyed it. And I would recommend it to pretty much anyone. Like I say, if you've got a little bit of a weak stomach, there might be parts you might want to turn your head at, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to get through, I think. And it's not too over the top or too gory, as you say.
Exactly. For the general population, um, this will be a very solid, fun ride.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna wrap it up on Final Destination 3 for us, and we'd like to thank you for listening to another episode of Geeked Out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, you can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Podcast Addict. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast. And if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can email us at geekedoutpod@gmail.com, or you can follow us on X or Twitter, whatever you'd like to call it, at geeked_pod with a capital G. And now for moving forward in the series, the two of us have decided that we are going to pick um, a TV show, one that's currently running. We've discussed. I believe the two we've brought up were Loki and Gen. What is it? Gen V.
I think you should watch Gen V, bro. You're gonna like it. I would
Hey,
just watch. I watched the
hey,
latest.
if you want to do Gen V, I am more than okay with that. Like I say, I haven't quite finished season 3 of The Boys, but I have loved what I've seen so far.
Dude,
So,
if you even like the boys, you'll love Gen V. The more I think about it, honestly, the
oh, I
more
have no doubt that I'll love it
it, bro.
because
It like
I love The Boys.
yeah, I watched the last episode. I think it's like the episode or two before the finale. Things are building up, man.
Okay.
Good, man. It's
Okay,
really
so
good.
you know what? So that's what we've kind of decided is what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into a show. But instead of doing like one episode a week, we kind of talked about maybe doing breaking it up into doing two. We're just gonna do 2 episodes a week and see how we feel with that. And
Because
See how
Gen
the
V,
see how we'll see how the first one goes, and if we think we need to break it up into one episode per show, or maybe do 3, or keep it at 2, we're gonna kind of go from there. But that's kind of where we're aiming to take this for the next few weeks of this podcast, and I think you're okay with that. Like we'll do the 2 episodes. We'll be back next week with the first 2 episodes of season 1 of Gen V.
Yeah, I'm down. I love that.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'll probably watch it this weekend, and I might watch more than the 2. I probably will if it's as good as you're saying it is.
No, it's pretty solid. I thought it was like good up until like the last uh, episode or 2, and I was like, okay, this show is pretty great.
Okay. No, I like I say, I'm really excited to see it. So I look forward to that, and yeah, we'll be back next week with the first 2 episodes of Gen V. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. You take care.
Peace.